thing a day, but I've been really good at having my weekends completely free.
I'm just so worried because it's like my first year of running my business properly, and the orders have come through and a lot of them are made to order, and I feel really nervous that I'm going to forget something, or I think we're live now anyway. So.
Yes, we are.
I think we are.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Carl. Hi, Cara. Thank you very much. We're back again. And this time we have Cara with us. Cara, you're a potter. Carl, you're an embroiderer. And this is something we host as a Creative Connections, bringing our community together. And on an afternoon, we are going to just sit and discuss how and what we can do to help each other and make our businesses more successful. Cara, this is your first year. Carl, you've been here for a long time. And I'm going to shut up soon and I'm going to let you take over from here. But thank you very much for watching. If you're here, if you're not, the recording is going to be on Facebook. Yeah, let's start.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Hello, everybody. It's lovely to see you all again today, and it's lovely to be back here with Cara. I'm a little bit of a space cadet today because I had a migraine yesterday, so if you see my eyes kind of roll to the back of my head, don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. But Cara, I'm totally hoping that you're going to fill in the silence. But no. So today is all about kind of, well, we call it all things business, but I think we realise that, we are our businesses and we know what we're doing with our businesses, but we don't always get things right for our business. So how do we go about figuring out the stuff that needs to be figured out, and how do we get ourselves out there a little bit more? But actually, one of the main things that you kind of are looking at through this discussion is about what things we do that we know have been a success for our business, and what things we know have not been a success, and then just kind of sharing ideas. So if anybody has any ideas and wants to put anything into the comments on Facebook, please do. We'd love to hear all your ideas. If you have any questions, please do ask us, as we would like to be able to either try and answer them, or it might trigger something for us where we can go away and we can have more discussions with other people and figure it all out. So, Cara, beautiful mug you've got there, Cara. Beautiful mug. Show it to everybody.
You can buy these on
Artisanry work in action.
They're inspired by the Cornish mizzle, the lovely weather we have down here.
What do they call it? The mizzle?
Mizzle, so mist and drizzle, which is pretty much about 3/4 of the year down here. Then we have glorious weather, and then mizzle.
Sounds ideal. I mean, we had terrible fog last night, and actually there's a stunning picture going around Facebook just now from a photographer who managed to get up onto Salisbury Crags and take a picture of Edinburgh Castle popping out of the low fog thingy, and I've never seen anything like it. It's stunning. Stunning. But anyway, right. It's good to have you back with us this week. Last time we were talking about mental wellness and how it affects and how our business and how it can make us more creative, etc. And today is more about kind of figuring out what you do as a business that makes things successful for you, and how you have become successful in things that don't make things successful. So what have you tried and it's been a complete disaster? So we have 3 questions, and then we'll have at the end some time to answer questions if anybody asks us anything on Facebook. So first of all, the first question was, what was or is the biggest barrier you feel you have to achieving sales, whether that's at markets or online?
Well, if you've watched the last live with us two, people will know that this is my first year doing this full time. And really giving it my focus. And prior to that, I was doing a nursing job like yourself, sort of trying to wean my way out and take that as kind of get the courage to take that leap of faith. So I would say my biggest barrier initially was actually not giving it my full attention. I was trying to do another job and have my mind over there. We're doing courses and all sorts of things, and just the day-to-day stuff that comes with nursing. Then I come home and I'd be shattered even after a couple of days, and I would have other things to do. And then was just hoping that somehow my business would take off, which it was, but very, very slowly. And I think the moment I handed in my notice and finished on December the 31st, 2019, literally, I had my focus was completely on my work. It had to work. And it has, because my focus is on it. So that was it. It was prioritizing it. It's my priority. I really want that. And so I had to prioritize. I was never going to get to a point where I was, well, personally, I couldn't maintain another job and get my business to a level that was successful enough financially. I had to give it my full attention.
Great, fab. Yeah.
That
So,
was my
yeah.
that was my sort of first thing. And then I was going to say about my sort of blocks now are where I've made like one-off items that are just sort of, you know, one-off unique thing. I put it onto a social media or my website or something, and I would assume people have seen it because I've posted it once. And then it feels really difficult sometimes to repost that again, because to me, my barrier is thinking they know now that I didn't sell that the first time. For those few people who saw that jug that I made, it didn't sell when it was shown in people's feeds between 8 and 9 p.m. on whatever day. And so I find that really hard. But now I've just got used to it, because I know that if I sell something, like if I put a picture of my mug on, for instance, I know that everyone's seen those mugs on my feed, you know, that they are something I churn out. And so I put them on and they go. So I feel differently about those compared to my sort of one-off. So I'm just trying to get my head around that and feel confident in just reposting, you know, different content, but with that same item in. And then I also think about making buying easy. Before, like right back at the beginning, it was like DM if you're interested. And you've got to be really interested to message somebody to find out the price, because there's always that awkward, you know, as a customer, I'd always feel awkward about that. You know, I wonder how much it's going to be. Once I engage in a conversation, I'm going to feel commitment to buy. I want to know the details. So by having a website or a platform, that, you know, have my website in particular really helped me. And the sales just come in unexpectedly, which is great. And I think also the other thing was, once I've sold out of things, I then put on an option for made to order. And that was really successful, because that helped me as a new business owner to understand what people were interested in, and what were going to be my popular products. So now, you know, I haven't ever got to a point now that I can get any of my mugs in stock, or any of my, you know, Cornish middle range in stock. They're always made to order. I would ideally like to get them in stock, because I think, again, that puts some people off buying if they've got to wait 2 to 3 weeks. But yeah, so don't be afraid to put made to order on if your work, you know, can work in that way. So they're my biggest.
That sounds really interesting.
Mm.
Yeah. So one of my biggest barriers I find is that I have a mind that has so many different ideas going on. So I'm always, you know, I have probably at least 4 or 5 different kind of products going out every year, which is quite a high turnover, rather than it being maybe spring, summer, autumn, winter. You know, maybe doing that. I've had my birds, I've had my, I call my ornithology, my zoological, my architecture, my musicology, and all of these things. And there's lots and lots and lots and lots of things going. So I'm kind of tripping over myself sometimes to get stuff out there, because I'm really excited, I've got this. And maybe I don't do enough work on promoting things, or, you know, the same item over and over for a little bit longer than I have been doing. So that's probably one of my biggest barriers. But, you know, it hasn't stopped sales. It's just maybe I just need to be a little bit more logical and kind of spend it time. And time management can be a huge issue for me. Huge issue for me, where I really, really need to timetable my day, so I know exactly what I'm doing, and I know exactly when deadlines are. And if I don't do that, then I get myself lost. And I don't know why I do it, but I end up doing it, and then I don't do it, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know why I'm so stressed. And it's just like, well, you know why you're so stressed, Carl, because you just stop timetabling things. And why do you do this to yourself all the time? So it's just so that's probably those are probably the biggest barriers for me in terms of achieving more sales, because there's maybe just too much going on, and people might just get a little bit kind of like exhausted by my need. But what I am doing just now is building up this online shop, and just posting one item a day. So if I do one item a day, then that means it's up there and it's on there, rather than overwhelmingly thinking I've got 100 items to get up there and I need to spend a whole 3 weeks doing that. I just can't do that. So yeah, so cool. Right, question 2. How do you measure success in terms of your work? So do you measure it financially, or do you measure it, I suppose we always do, of course we're going to measure it financially because we have to earn money, and and that'd be very foolish for us not to. But success comes in many, many different kind of formats.
Yeah, so financially, it's obviously, as you say, a major one. But I think for me, apart from financially, I was thinking about this last night, and I was thinking, do you know what? To me, when I think of success, it's going to sound really bizarre, but a Sunday evening when you're sat in front of the TV and the Antiques Roadshow comes on, you hear that music, and that would make me feel really unsettled. Not because I've got a thing against Fiona Bruce or anything. Because I would be thinking, oh gosh, I'm going to have to, should I go and get ready for work tomorrow? Should I check my emails? Should I get my lunch ready? What am I going to wear tomorrow? What's waiting for me when I go into work? I wonder what happened to that case, or whatever. That sort of thing. It's like how I feel on a Sunday. Can I enjoy my whole Sunday without having to worry about the stresses that the week's going to bring? And again, Monday mornings, if I stay in my pajamas till 8:39 and sit and have a coffee and do my little notes of things I need to do that week, that's a success, and the ability to be flexible. And if, a family member needs something, or, if it's a nice day, it turns out to be a lovely, glorious day, that I can just think, well, actually, I'm going to leave all that and I'm going to go and enjoy the day and take in some fresh air. Or like you with your migraine, it might be that you want to sit outside and have a coffee or hide under the duvet or something, and that actually you can do that. And you haven't got to be accountable to anyone for that. You haven't got to ask permission to go and sit outside and breathe some fresh air. You just do that because that's what your body needs.
Yeah.
To me, that's like invaluable. And I think also measuring success on repeat customers. I know you touched on that last time, but for me, knowing that people, I like it when people buy it, but then it's always that worry, like, what do they think when they've got it? And then knowing that they're coming back, it's like, okay, that's great. And people then send gifts direct to other friends and family as well. So that's really good. That's really reassuring. And I think success as well in community. So on social media and I suppose Artisanry, you're building community and friendships that help support your business. And, you sort of found those sort of people and you can support each other and be sort of cheerleaders for each other. So I think those sort of things, and I suppose just sort of generally seeing my business develop in terms of the right audience, in terms of seeing my work develop and progress, and just little things like my website and everything, it's just had those sort of further tweaks, and I can see myself progressing, and when I look back I just think that's amazing. So you sometimes have to sit and reflect, don't you? What about
I
you?
think absolutely, you completely do. For me, so everything that you have said, absolutely, and that Sunday night feeling and that Monday morning feeling where I don't have to get out of bed. If I don't, I don't have to get out of bed at 7 o'clock. I don't have to get out of bed in the dark anymore. And that I used to have one of these illuminated clocks that would do the sunrise from 6 o'clock in the morning until the alarm went off at 6:30 in the morning, because winter, and I do suffer from SAD, was such a difficult time for me, such a difficult time. And I don't have to do that now. So I very much, and I can be up at 6 o'clock in the morning in the summer because it's nice and bright and I love that. And in the winter I can go, right, I'm not getting out of bed until 8 o'clock, until I see light cracking through that blind. I ain't doing it because I don't have to. I don't have to be in that school for 9 o'clock. So that, to me, that's success because I'm not constrained by that, which I really love. And because I'm teaching and doing private teaching, most of my private teaching at this time of year now is in the dark. And actually, I'm all right with that. So I go off to work and it's starting to get dark, but I can spend the whole day in the light. And I wasn't able to do that when I was working in school. I had to be in the school building, and some of the school buildings I had to be in were horrific. You know, they were so horrible and dark and yeah. So that kind of success in terms of just being able to dictate my time, I find that to be a huge success in life. Financially, obviously, yes, it has to be. You have to be selling. You have to be able to obviously maintain. But I do think there's a thing where people get caught up in that I need to earn X amount of money, or possibly unrealistic amounts of money, and then become deflated because of it, because they're not earning, the £7,000 or £8,000 a month, or 45,000 or £50,000 a year. And for me, I can't measure myself like that anymore, because that's, I measured myself financially when I was employed. I was as miserable as hell. So why would I start measuring myself financially like that again? I would love to be earning what I earned as, in management in schools, but I'm not motivated by that kind of thing anymore. And I just trust in the fact that I'm provided with enough, that I get enough money coming in every month to pay the bills and move forward, and just to keep going. And that to me is a huge success. And as I've trusted that process, more and more has come in. So more sales have begun to happen. And it's that, like you said, the repeat customers, engagement, and being with people, and engaging with people in a way that gets them talking, I think is hugely, hugely important. Hugely important. So yeah, there we go. Right, question 3. Out of the box thinking, what have you done that has resulted in success?
Okay. Well, I haven't done a lot of out of the box thinking, I don't think, anyway, but I'll talk you through what I've written down. And unfortunately, I haven't got the talents that you have, Karl, with your singing and your playing. Really do your little Friday Night Lives.
Yeah,
I got
can you be?
I got banned from a choir, so I couldn't do that.
I wouldn't ban you from my choir. No. Having none of that. No, my choir would be inclusive. Apart from my
I was told I sounded like my teacher told me I sounded like a lion roaring, and if I wanted to be in the choir, I had to mime.
In fairness, I tell my mother that. I do say that to my mum. My mum is horrific. And I've always said there's a saying, those who can do, those who can't teach, and those who can't teach teachers. But then there's also those that can learn, those that you can hope can learn, and those that just can't. No. And my mother's in the just can't. I can't teach her to sing. She's just horrendous. So yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Well, I think I sound good anyway.
Well, that's the most important thing. You make your voice heard, girl.
Exactly. So what have I done then to sort of the things I've done to sort of result in success? So I've put, again, just leading on from what we were just saying about community and networking, it was building that right sort of tribe. I've put down the word tribe. So you've got these people with you, walking with you along your journey, and you're walking with them on their journey, and you're sort of helping each other out. You've all got your own audiences. And if you find the right people who have probably got your same customer base, and you support each other, you're going to increase your audience and the right audience. And it's that sort of uplifting. You're working alone as well. You've got extra support from the people around you, and you build your sort of friendships with other makers and such like. So that's been really important, and really helped me in terms of success with my sales and following and getting that right audience. And then I really sort of spent time thinking about who my customer was, who are my customers and how do they operate? And I sort of came up with, they're kind of similar to me in the fact that they might have had, in those sort of jobs, and that they kind of dream of being in Cornwall, and, my pottery hopefully spark something about memories and things of that place and those happy times, and that want to maybe live somewhere like this and escape and be free and all those things. So I was thinking, how do those people buy? How do they operate? And I was thinking, how do I do that? And to start with, I started to think about getting into lots of different shops, which is a great idea. But I think to start with, I needed to be online, because that's where my customers were, especially as it happened then with lockdown. They were online, and they were scrolling on Instagram, and they were looking at pretty things and wanting to treat themselves or send their friends or family something nice of the holiday that they were going to go to in Cornwall, and that they couldn't go away this year, so they're going to send something to somebody, and just thinking about how I would buy, and I would buy online, and I'd sit and scroll when I had 5 minutes, and that's probably how I would buy. And I would buy with people that I felt I knew. So I kind of involved people in the storytelling of my everyday. So visually, they would become aware of my settings, what I do, how my sort of day-to-day life is, and they would buy into it. Sorry, I got somebody at the door. And they sort of buy into it all, and they'd want a bit of that. So when I'm sort of sat outside with my mug, in the morning listening to the birds, they would be wanting to buy the mug, not just because of the mug, but because of that idea of sitting outside and relaxing and everything. So just thinking about what your ideal customer wants and trying to, just sharing your everyday, and that seemed to work. Also, I've done sort of workshops and courses, but they've had to be one-to-one. I've had to adapt that because of lockdown and everything, and obviously they're not running at the moment, but I've also got like pottery at home. So there were pottery at home kits for people who didn't feel confident in coming out or just wanted to do it at home. I think, so I think also as well about building relationships with trade companies. So where I do small batch products, building those relationships, taking time to build them with the companies. I think really that's sort of it. And I've done a few giveaways as well, but again, they're with those people who have the right clients, so that we all sort of pop in an item, and hopefully that's appealing to the people that we feel are our customer base.
Nice, good. I really like that, what you're saying. Some of these things I've not done, and some of these things I know I need to do, but I'm also too busy thinking about how I'm going to be a bit slightly off the wall, because surprisingly enough I am. But one or two other things. So the one thing that I did, I had an exhibition this year in Coburg Art House in Leith, and obviously because of COVID, it was meant to happen back in May, but because of COVID, it was delayed. And then we said, right, okay, we'll go for the first weekend. It was meant to be over 2 weekends, and we'll go for the first weekend in September. And what came from that, and what I think I would do going forward, because there will be another exhibition in that space, but with more artists around the same theme that I have done for mine, is that we ticketed the event. So it was 8 people were allowed in the space every half hour over 2 days, and it was amazing because 160 people came through the doors over the 2 days. And Coburg had said, we don't normally have that. We probably maybe get 30 to 40 people per day coming in to see an exhibition, but it also requires you to be out in the street canvassing. So I'd have been physically away from the space, and I would have been out there canvassing for people to go in and have a look at my stuff, but I wouldn't be there for them to speak to about it. So by doing that, it meant we had a lot of people coming through the door, and a lot of serious people coming in the door who wanted to buy. So it kind of encouraged serious buyers to come along. And I know that, when you have a preview, often the preview is when maybe a lot of sales can be made, but you can get 100, 200, 300 people coming into a preview, and all they're there for is the free wine and the nibbles. I know, I've been there, I've done that. And actually there's, and it's hard to get at the pieces, it's hard to see the pieces, it's hard to do all of these things. And I know that I have been there, and I've done that, and I've actually not ended up seeing the pieces properly at all. So I did an online preview, a bit like my Friday Night Lives, but we did it in the space where I was interviewed, and then the interviewer took my phone and went round the room showing my pieces whilst I played some live music. And from that, I sold a fair number of the pieces just on that evening alone, and then people coming in. And it felt nice because it meant with 8 people only in the space, and quite a large space, it meant that I could talk to everybody, and I could tell them why and what I was doing, and lots of new faces and lots of new. It was just lovely. So it's about even going forward after COVID. Oh, there's the cat. Yes, I can hear you. Oh, he's noisy. You're a noisy boy. Even after COVID, I think that's something that I would encourage people to do, is to actually, if you have an exhibition, if you can ticket it. So if you start limiting things, so people are like, oh, hang on, there's this event and actually there's not that many tickets. People actually get a little more excited and maybe take it a little bit more seriously than they might do. So yeah, so that's one of the things that I've done that's kind of like more not traditional thinking. Right, I know it's already 12:30. So have we had any other questions from the audience on Facebook?
I will just check. I think we perhaps haven't. Let me just, sorry, bear with. No questions. We've had a few just people who've sort of been looking at it, but really interesting listening to the pair of you talk, Cara and Karl. Carl, I've obviously been on this with you before, but Cara, really interesting to to hear your mental health journey, and now on this side, now talking about the business, and it's just from our point of view as a community, or as a company that sort of really wants to focus on mental health awareness, mental health, and how we can help people and help ourselves in the way. I just find that your story is very, very inspirational, or would be for a lot of people who are trying to make that switch, and are perhaps struggling. And I fall very much in your boat, where I can't do two things at the same time. And when I had to set up Artisanry, I had to let go of my previous life and my previous job, and focus 100% into what I was doing, because I tried to do for a little while and it just didn't work for me. I can't multitask that way. I had to be 100% focused into it, and I think that's something people should take away from it to some degree. We're all different. We're all we some of us can multitask. Karl, you did it for a couple of years before you made the final switch. Cara, you didn't. I didn't. And I think it's really important for us to be true to ourselves, and especially listen to that inner voice like you did, and said, I've had enough. I'm going to now make that switch, and I'm going to keep my mental health as my priority and build a life around it. And what you have displayed as a maker is that that's a possibility, and I think that's really inspirational for people who are listening to this, or who will listen to it, that people who have that doubt would probably look at your story and say, yeah, we can do it as well. There is a way. There is, if you focus your attention on something, it will grow, and it will it'll make your life beautiful. So really, really thank you for the conversations. Karl, anything else from your end?
No, nothing that I can think of from the side at all. No, just, yeah, it's been lovely, really lovely speaking to you. Thank you very much indeed. And it's just lovely to hear other people's way of working, and then what it triggers in my mind. What do I need to think about more carefully, etc., etc. And one of the biggest things that I have a problem with is other shops, is putting myself into other shops, whether that be physical shops or other online shops or things like that. Because I feel like I don't know, there's so much work involved in doing it, but maybe I just need to bite the bullet and just get myself out and do it. But yeah, it's it's the thought processes, they're there.
I suppose we have to do what is right for us, Karl, and if not being on a platform is what is right for you, then that is what is right for you.
Yeah.
And many times in the last 15 months of setting out Artisanry, I've been tried to be told by various public bodies that I need to shoehorn myself in a particular way, and it hasn't worked. And I had finally come to a point where I said, this doesn't work for me. This is not what I want to build, and I want to build it the way I think, and it sits with me. So I suppose if you and I can learn something from Cara's stories, to be really, really true to ourselves, and get our priorities right. So thank you very much, Cara. Anything else from you before we go? Sorry, we're not talking about you in third person. You're right there.
I've said it all. Thank you for this opportunity to chat and be part of this.
Thank you very much. In that case, thank you guys. Carl, again for next Tuesday. We'll meet again. I'll pick up with you separately, but thank you.
Perfect.
Thanks, Cara.
Take care of
Lovely speaking
yourselves.
to
See
you.
you later. Have a
Bye.
lovely day. Bye bye.